When you look at this deal, right, not only did they trade for Bowen Byram, which, by the way, I'm not saying he's a bad defenseman. He is a very good defenseman. I think he has upside to be a bottom-tier number one defenseman in this league. However, though, when you trade for a guy with 1 year left on his deal who's going to be in UFA, with Darren Ferris, who, like you said, is known for walking this guy as a free agency, and you give it the 4th overall pick in a rebuilding team, it kind of screams a red flag with the rebuild. Welcome back to another episode from the Check It From Behind podcast. I'm your host, Zach, as always, joined by my co-host, Preston, and holy shit. I'm going to start off the episode with that because it all kicked off on, I'd say, Sunday or so, Sunday morning. Not Sunday morning,
it all started on, all this chaos started on Sunday,
Started on Sunday, and then it's just carried on throughout the entire week. And then yesterday, which was Tuesday, we got a ton of trades. We got a couple of trades and signings today. It's been madness. One of the craziest NHL, days in NHL history yesterday on Tuesday. And it's not just like some, trading for second or third round picks. It is like Brady Tkachuk getting traded. William Eklund. Like, we have a ton to discuss today.
Yeah, just a couple things to discuss. I guess we'll just go in chronological order then to start with, because it's just a lot.
It is a lot. And, we start things off here with the Panthers trading Mackie Samoskevich to the Kraken and for the 25th overall pick and the 2027 second round pick. What the Kraken ended up doing was they ended up buying high on a young forward who, has 50-point upside. So the Kraken, they helped some of their goal scoring. They end up paying a pretty good price for him. But the Panthers needed that 25th overall pick. I like this trade for the Panthers. And honestly, the Kraken, again, I know they gave up a first-round pick for, future for his upside. But honestly, I don't hate it for the Kraken here. I give the Panthers an A- in it and the Kraken a B-, frankly.
I thought the Kraken gave up a little much for a player that has potential. Like, obviously, it was going to be hard for him to really succeed well in that Panthers team with such a loaded lineup with how deep they were. He did play in 77 games last year, 32 points. So on a bad Panthers team last year, mind you, only 1 point higher than his point total the previous year with 72, went 31 in 72 games. So he'll have a much greater role in Seattle for sure.
And I mean, looking at this trade here, because the Panthers were trying to get Brady Tkachuk because Brady Tkachuk gave, 4 teams to be traded to, and Florida was one of them. And then not shortly after, the Panthers flipped that pick immediately to the Senators to go out and trade for Matthew Tkachuk's brother and Brady Tkachuk. So the Senators end up getting out of that trade a 9th overall pick, 25th overall pick, a 2027 second round pick, and a 2029 conditional first round pick. The Panthers, all they did, like what we see here, they gave up just draft capital to acquire Brady Tkachuk. Obviously, a team like them, fuck them.
All the draft capital they had left, that was worth anything.
Exactly. And now not only does he get to play with Matthew and everything like that, but also this makes their top 9 so lethal. One of the best in the league, I would argue right now, easily, honestly. And on top of this as well, the Panthers window is now open. I know a lot of people were kind of like being like, oh, the Panthers missed the playoffs this season. Like, they're out of it. Like, it's the Panthers. Like, they still have the same roster. They dealt with injury troubles. Now they're healthy. They get a healthy Barkov. They get a healthy roster. You add Brady Tkachuk to this mix. Like, the Panthers went out and they basically told the league to go fuck themselves with this trade. And the thing that came out about this as well is that Brady Tkachuk requested a trade the week that they got eliminated in the first round this season, right? Which is, by the way, the same week that Brady Tkachuk said he wants to figure things out in Ottawa and bring a cup to them. Backstabber, in my opinion. But also, he put in a 4-team no-trade list, which, of course, included Vegas, Minnesota, Florida, and Carolina. However, though, he was trying to really push a trade for Florida. So there's that.
Yeah, I heard Minnesota made a very strong offer, potentially stronger than what Florida offered. But what it came down to, Brady said, I want to play with my brother. Honestly, I don't think Ottawa made out too bad given the situation they were in. They ended up getting 3 first-round picks in this trade, and they immediately ended up flipping one for William Eklund, who I think helps their team a lot right now. And with Tkachuk, it was a weird situation because from what I heard, he wasn't like demanding a trade. Like he wasn't saying like I'm never playing for the Senators again. Trade me right the fuck now. He still had 2 years left on his deal. From what I heard, he would have been fine playing those 2 years out. He essentially told them like I'm going to put in this trade request, but also I'm not going to resign with you guys at the end of my contract. So take that with what you will.
Yeah, and the thing that came out about that too is like nobody knows if he went there and like because the Senators asked him about the contract, right? About re-signing because again he becomes eligible for an extension on July 1st, right? If I'm not mistaken, or next summer, one of the two. It's coming
next
up
summer because he has 2 years left on his deal.
Okay,
so yeah,
there we go. Yeah, so he gets eligible next July, right? And the Senators asked him about it, and Brady Tkachuk. Now nobody knows if he said no, I'm not re-signing or potentially not re-signing, but either way, though, we know he wasn't going to re-sign with Ottawa.
I think he did say he was not going to resign. I think he told them.
Well, no. But like the way that he said it, right? Because it was like he can sit there and bluntly just be like, "I'm going to be honest, I'm not re-signing with you." Or he could have said, "I'm probably not," like different ways, right? I know it's irrelevant to the thing because no means no, but at the end of the day, too, like, yeah. Brady Tkachuk, he ends up becoming Florida Panther. I do like the way that the Senators ended up getting the picks now. The Senators wanted a rostered player for him. The Panthers weren't budging. Obviously, the Panthers know that they had all the leverage in the world in this trade. So the Panthers could have just sat there and just been like, nope, we're not doing it. And they kept doing that. And Zito got his wish and just traded the draft capital. Even though the Senators were in a tough spot, they didn't have to trade him. They did grant the request there to trade him to Florida, and they ended up getting the draft capital that they ended up using in another trade we'll get to later down the line. So honestly, for the Panthers, I give them an A- here. I think they made out great getting a player like Brady Tkachuk, and then the Senators, they get a B+. So I think they made out pretty fine in my eyes.
Yeah, I like the trade they made with San Jose. I think William Eklund's a bit of an underrated player. A lot of people don't really watch a lot of his games because of where he plays in San Jose, a lot of late games. Exciting player. I think he's easy to be forgotten about given, with some of the other talent they have there, especially with Matt Celebrini. But he should be a good secondary scoring option for them, and he'll have a lot of opportunity there. And San Jose, I think they get a 9th overall pick, which I immediately we want to talk about a terrible time to do a mock draft. Our mock draft, literally before we uploaded, it was already toast.
Oh my God! It was because we ended up recording that on Sunday, and then at 2:00 it comes out the all these draft picks in the first round are going to be traded for these players, and Preston, you ended up going in our checking from behind Discord chat, and it's like our mock draft's cooked and it's not even uploaded yet. It was. It
just got even worse this time around because now now San Jose having the 9th overall pick completely changes their outlook at number 2 overall, in my opinion.
Because we ended up going with Chase Reed at number 2, and now they're probably going to go Stenberg and take a defenseman at 9th overall.
Yeah, this is a pretty deep defensive class, and Stenberg's by far the second best player in this draft, arguably the first. I know there's still some people debate. I heard the Leafs are 95% taking McKenna, but there's still a small chance they take Stenberg. I still believe they're taking McKenna. There's no way they don't take him first overall. Yeah. But Stenberg at number 2, that core with Celebrini, Smith, and Misa, and Stenberg would be ridiculous.
And that's gross. And with the trade that Preston's referring to, so the Senators went ahead and acquired William.
Oh, did we not talk about that yet? I thought we did.
No, we didn't. We just talked about.
We're still talking about the Senators one. Okay,
we're talking
the Panthers.
About
okay.
Yeah. So that trade, William Eklund ended up going to the Senators, as well as Kasper Haltunen and then Brandon Savoboda. Just a couple of prospects there for the 9th overall pick, which was Florida. So again, we talked about, now they have 2 top 10 picks. You go ahead, most likely take Stenberg at 2nd overall, right? On top of it, you get a defenseman here. And this is what I like about what Mike Greer's done here in San Jose, because again, we love what he's done with the rebuild in San Jose, better than what the Blackhawks are doing. We'll get to that later down the line. But This is what Mike Greer's thinking, and I can almost guarantee this. So you look at a guy like William Eklund, who has been basically at the start of Mike Greer's tenure. He's been in San Jose. He's seen the darkest of days, right? However, though, when you have a chance to have like you said, a deep defensive class that you can get at 9th overall here and towards the 10 and the late single digits there, you can take a generational goal scorer in, I don't want to say generational right now, but a very good hockey player in Stenberg.
I don't know if this class has any generational players, to be honest with you.
I think Gavin McKenna is generational. I think he'll.
I don't think he is.
Obviously, time will tell because again, we kind of sat here last year and said Matthew Schaefer wasn't generational. So, yeah.
I mean, did anyone think he'd have that good of a rookie year?
Islanders fans did, yeah. Outside of that, I don't know.
They weren't being serious though. They're just being hopelessly optimistic.
You'll be shocked. I mean, I appreciate them, rooting for their guys. But, going out and getting a guy like Stenberg, who is going to, in my opinion, no offense to Eklund, who's a very solid NHLer all the way. Stenberg has, that 90-point upside at his peak.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm not going to put too high expectations on him, but 90 is his highest peak, I guess I would say. And then you end up getting another very good defenseman. If Verhoff ends up dropping in 9th, you can get him. There's a bunch of other good defensemen that are going to be available at 9. So I really love this from Mike Greer, and I can't just ride him enough that he's just done a phenomenal job, man. Really.
Yeah, no, the Sharks, they're going to have a busy free agency, I think, too. They got a lot of money to spend. I think there's going to be a lot of guys on short-term deals. The UFA class keeps getting worse and worse, though. So we'll see what remains to be seen for the free agent class, because we'll get to that later. The top free agent available is no longer available, and seems to keep getting worse and worse and worse for availability. And the Sharks need to sign defensemen desperately. They really don't have any.
I will say though, they were in on Bowen Byram too, so.
Yeah, I don't think they would have been willing to give up what Chicago did, though.
No, because the Sabres were asking for, I think, the 9th overall pick, and they didn't want to give that up.
Yeah, so they got the 4th overall pick instead.
Yep. Yeah.
But anyway, but San Jose, they have 2 defensemen under contract next year, and Dmitry Orlov and Sam Dickinson. They do have a couple of RFAs in Kesselring, who they just acquired from the Sabres, and Shakir M. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not saying that last name.
You're good. No, you're good.
They'll get those guys signed, and whoever they draft at 9, I don't think there's any way they're playing in the NHL this year. Stenberg, if they do draft him at 2, I think good chance he's playing in the NHL this year, though.
Yeah, I agree. Again, this move just screams that it's going to take the Sharks to another level. You get Stenberg and you get a very good defenseman there at 9. I think you're set up for success there. And
I think this will still be another building year for them this year, where their goal is to be maybe competing for a wild card spot. I'm going to have to see what they do in free agency to really address some depth scoring, and because last year there was the Mackie Samoskevich show. If he wasn't having a good game, the Sharks were not going to win that game.
Yeah.
And they need to get away from that if they want to be a really competitive team.
And I'll be completely honest too, the Sharks, if it's not this season, it's next season they're competing for a while.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. They have a lot of good young players that are developing still. They have a generational player, in my opinion, in Mackie Samoskevich, who's going to lead that franchise for the next 15 years. So they're in a really, really good spot right now. They just got, I think, just one more year, let some of these prospects develop, and then I think they're going to be in for a fun ride and for the next long while.
Yeah, you are. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that this team is going to be back up in contention, making the conference finals year in and year out. You even, you have the development of guys like Michael Misa, even Will Smith, Macklin Celebrini.
Will Smith missed a bunch of time last year with injury.
Yeah, he did. And he still put up a very solid season there. And you still have Tyler Toffoli, who is still being productive at the age of 34, right?
Yeah, he's a good second line, third guy, locker room glue guy, good leader for that room.
Yeah, he is. And then now my only concern for them, again, would be that blue line. But again, I got no doubt in my mind Mike Greer is going to get it together. He's going to build that. He's going to build the future.
Yeah, because you also need to support Askarov a bit too, because I know his numbers weren't great. But look at that decor he had last year. It was bad.
It was worse than bad. It was like, oh,
It wasn't the worst. We'll get to what team I think had the worst decor last year, but actually maybe second worst.
Okay, yeah, I like second worst. Step up from worst. I like it.
I think the team with the worst decor last year was Vancouver. So.
Oh yeah, Vancouver is rough, and
the
then
Chicago Blackhawks are a close second, though.
The Blackhawks, yeah, we'll get to them here in a second.
Yeah.
They ended up adding to that, but the Sharks here, I give them an A-. The Senators, I give a B+ in this trade. I thought both teams made out.
Yeah, I think this is a win-win trade.
Yeah,
both teams get what they need.
A lot of the trades I felt like were kind of win-wins, except the one trade. I'll get.
I don't know if I'd call the Tkachuk trade necessarily a win-win trade because it just makes the Panthers. I saw people asking like, "Are the Panthers instantly a cup contender with Brady Tkachuk?" Like they were a cup contender without him.
They were without him. Like I don't know what the questions need to be.
My only concern about the Panthers now is they don't have a fucking goalie under contract.
They do not. They don't have Tarasov or Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky's asking for the.
Yeah, I heard that he's like coming back. Not what he's asking for a 6-year deal. Yeah, he's 38 years old.
At like $7 million. I heard the Panthers ended up offering like a shorter term deal with a little bit of more AAV to kind of compensate for it, and he said no.
Yeah.
Whatever. It is what it is. I want to move on to this next trade here with the Flames acquiring Simon Nemec and Maxim Taisplikov for a 2027 first-round pick, which is Vegas's, 2028 first-round pick, which is Colorado's, 2028 second-round pick, which is the Rangers, and then 25-year-old Etienne Morin on the other side. And now a lot of people are overreacting to this, in my opinion, because people are like, oh, my God, you have the Flames giving up first-round picks and all these like picks and everything for Simon Nemec, who hasn't worked out in.
He said it was for the Colorado's and Vegas's, right?
Correct. Yes.
Those will be late first-round picks.
Exactly. That's what I said. There's actually like people were saying that, and I looked at it because when I took a look,
they traded their own. They traded Vegas and Colorado's.
And if it was their own, I would be a little concerned.
But
they traded Vegas and Colorado's, which should be cup contenders at least.
And they still have 2 first-round picks this year.
Exactly. They're fine. Like they had that capital. And then people are like, well, Simon Nemec, he has struggled in New Jersey. Yes, he has. But also, if you look at the needs of the Flames, right, they needed a right-handed defenseman like Simon Nemec, right? He's going to get an upgraded role here in Calgary with, obviously their lack of very good defensemen, I should say. The blue line's kind of weak. So I don't mind this. They buy a high-end defenseman, which was taken in the top 5 for a reason. They can go ahead and turn him around. On top of it, they have Zane Parekh. And genuinely, honestly, I don't think this is as bad as what people made it seem out to be. Now, when you go over to the Devils side, like they got a haul. I love this haul for the Devils. Again, I think that, we're seeing a lot of these teams give away first-round picks. Like, their candy, which they should. But overall, though, even though the Devils did get 2, which seemingly, like we discussed, later first-round picks, I still like what they got here, genuinely.
Yeah, and from the Calgary side, where the people are saying they gave up too much, he's only 22 years old still, and he's going to get so much opportunity in Calgary to get better, where they don't have a number 1 defenseman right now. I think this also helps take some pressure off Pareke to step right in and be a number 1 guy. They can grow together and kind of come into their own. It was essentially 2 early second-round picks from Vegas and Colorado.
Yeah.
So, the Colorado one's 2028. You never know what the hell could happen with that, but they're both top 10 protected as well. So if Colorado did have a terrible season and they ended up getting like a top 5 pick, New Jersey would not be getting that pick. So
yeah. So
I really like this. I like this for both sides. Yeah, it seemed like New Jersey was pretty intent on moving on for him. He didn't really have a great role there. They weren't super happy with his development. He gets an opportunity in Calgary that he's going to be playing top 4 minutes every night on a pretty weak blue line, but he'll have plenty of chances to get better, and I think he will get better.
Yeah, he will. And like I brought up earlier, like a puck mover defenseman, like according to Evolving Hockey, he ranks in the 72nd percentile in overall offensive rank among NHL players. So he has an offensive upside. Again, like you said, he's only 22 as well. If he can get his defense together a little bit and not make those, dumb mistakes he has been making in New Jersey, I think he'll be fine. And obviously, he has a ton of time to develop, and to go ahead and put him on the blue line where he'll be given more of a role, like outside of Zane Parekh. I think he if looking at it right now, probably is the second best defenseman. We're talking about pure upside and talent on that team.
Again, this isn't a great blue line.
No, it's not. So overall,
Yeah.
I give the Devils an A+ for it, but I also give the Flames a B+ as well. I think they made out pretty well. Again, we'll see what happens with the picks. Again, picks can be taken, super lightly.
It wouldn't shock me also if Calgary ended up taking a defenseman in the first round of the draft this year.
They need to. They need to take a defenseman in the draft, and I believe we mocked them up to take a defenseman in the draft no matter what happened with trades. Everything still stands there.
Yeah, they had the 6th overall pick. Unless Malhotra or something falls to 6, I think they're taking a defenseman.
I agree there. There's going to be plenty of good defensemen there to take, and I truly think if the Flames want to try to get out of like this being mid or bad, that they're going to have to take a defenseman or at least get a jump started here. There are
either defenseman or best player available because they kind of have issues all over their roster. I think the only position they're not really questioning about is goaltending, where they have Dustin Wolf there who's going to be solid for a long time. It's just he has no help in front of him.
Yeah, and if you're the Flames, you just start with one piece at a time, right? Because you look at the guys up front, like they do lack the goal scoring. They do have some decent names, but a lot of their productive guys from the past are getting older, like the Backlund, 37, Huberdeau, contract his age, like Milk, he's 33 years old. But they do also have some younger guys like a Matt Coronado. They have Morgan Frost, who's 27, but he's still just entering his prime. Farabee, 26 years old. There's these guys that I think can go ahead and be productive. And Connor Zary as well. The Flames are potentially looking to get something back for him as well. We'll see what happens with them. But again, another young guy on the blue line. I mean, on the forward group. So I would love to see them take a defenseman here. And moving on to the next trade here. The Capitals went ahead and they acquired Jordan Kyrou for the 16th overall pick, Connor McMichael, and Milton Gastrin. Overall, the Capitals, they were active over the last couple of days. They make one of two moves we'll be discussing here, and I like this. I mean, they get a two-way forward in Jordan Kyrou. I feel like his two-way game kind of goes underrated. Everybody expects him to be like this offensive scorer that he has been. I know he had a down season. I think he recorded like less than 50 points this past season in 72 games played. But the previous years, though, he's been an offensive guy, but he was very defensively responsible this season for the Blues. I know, again, the Blues had goal-scoring issues, but I don't think he was one of those issues. I know you want to see more production from him, but he's going to be given a good role in Washington, right? Power play time like it was in St. Louis. He's going to be playing under Carberry, who I think is one of the best coaches in the league, and I have a feeling here we're going to see his production start to go up more like how he was when he first got his contract extension at 8.5.
And assuming they bring Ovechkin back, I heard he's waiting till after free agency to make his decision. I do think it's better chance that he does come back than doesn't for at least one more season. But they have a pretty solid top six now after these moves they made. Like one of the better ones in the league. I think this puts them right back in a playoff spot for next season, especially in a pretty weak Metro division outside of the Carolina Hurricanes. That division's kind of wide open for all the other teams in there. So I like this trade a lot for Washington. They took a look at their issues, and they were really not a great team off the rush. And they add two good rush players in Jordan Kyrou and Alex Tuch, who we'll get to in a minute. So I really like this true move for Washington. With Washington at 16, they're kind of in a weird spot right now where they don't want to. They're not bad enough to be competing for like a bad pick every year, but they're not quite there yet to be like a true playoff Stanley Cup contender. And these moves they made today, like yesterday and today, make them closer to being a true like playoff contender. And I think they will make the playoffs next year after these moves they made today.
Oh, absolutely. And all these moves that these teams are making, a lot of them are teams in the Eastern Conference because they are obviously competing with each other. They don't understand that. The Atlantic is so strong that the Capitals are like, okay, like they want to get over the hump to at least get in the Metro bracket right here. And, they're going out and they're making these moves and they address the need, like you said, right? Going out and getting two very good two-way forwards as well. Not just guys that, are great offensively or just great defensively. They bring a facet of both games, right? On top of it, are both very good in transition, like you brought up. And they address this need because, listen, goaltending, Logan Thompson is phenomenal.
He made that team more relevant than they should have been last year.
Absolutely. And Charlie Lindgren is a very good backup, getting $3 million for the next 2 seasons. The backup Logan Thompson, stud. And then their blue line is one of the best in the league, right? Like you have Chikrin, Faravari, Matt Waugh, Rasmus Sandin.
We'll see. Maybe if they bring back John Carlson. I know they're rumored to be in the mix for potentially bringing him back. So he'll have his suitors, but I wouldn't be shocked. Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be shocked if Karlsson ends up back in Washington.
And listen, if he ends up back in Washington, we can start to argue that this team has the best top six in the league. Like, genuinely. It's just that good.
I don't know if they're the best top six, but they have a pretty solid detour. It's good.
I would say it's arguable. Now, I'm not going to sit here on record and say
and don't forget, they have Cole Hudson as well, who looked phenomenal in a very limited role at the end of the year last year for the Capitals. And if he's half the player that his brother is, he's going to be a top 4 defenseman in this league.
And he's going to be a stud for the Capitals. Absolute stud.
He had 10 points in 14 games last year as a 19-year-old defenseman. This kid's I think he's going to be a 50-point player next year.
He is going to be. I mean, Cole Hudson, what he did in college, just the skating ability, his passing, his playmaking, his IQ, everything literally screams Lane Hudson 2.0. I mean, they're brothers. And then with the Capitals as well, what they also went ahead and do, we can jump right into this, is they ended up acquiring Alex Tuch Alex Tuch's rights for a 2027 third-round pick and David Kampf's rights. Alex Tuch immediately signs an 8 by $10.5 million.
Well, it was a sign and trade. So he signed with the Sabres, and then they traded him to Washington for a third-round pick, and David Kampf for some reason.
Yes, that is right. Which makes the Capitals even stronger getting Alex Tuch. I mean, I like the return that the Sabres got, but I mean...
getting a third-round pick for a guy that you weren't going to keep, you take that any day of the week.
Yeah, you do. And getting a guy like Tuch who can be a penalty killer, he can play grade 5-on-5, he can play on the power play, below the goal line. He's great defensively, a phenomenal forward checker. Like, us here at Sabres fans, like, I promise you, like, Alex Tuch you are going to fall in love with Alex Tuch the first time he steps on the ice. He is that type of player, a great leader. And on the Sabres side, it's like, I thought getting a third-round pick was good, but then they get David Kampf's rights, which is just a throw in there. I don't know what they're going to do with him. Great defensively there, but overall, though, I really like what the Capitals have done here, improving their forwards. Now, I don't think they're done yet. I think they will go add. Now, I don't think there's going to be any more big name ads for them. Might just be little like depth moves and pieces and that type of stuff. But overall, I like what
they have about $12 million in cap space right now, according to Puckpedia. So I'm assuming if Ovechkin comes back, at least probably 8 to 9 million is going to him.
Yeah.
So not a ton of they don't I'm looking at their roster. They have their decor locked down for the most part. They also have their forward core pretty much figured out. So we'll see. It depends what happens with Ovi. I think really because I don't think they're going to be super aggressive in free agency outside of maybe trying to bring Karlsson back on a deal if they can make the money work. But, Ovi's decision is going to be a big impact on what they do.
Yeah, honestly, like you said, if he's more than likely to come back here, and if that's the case, then you could see them have a little bit more of a quieter free agency or get like depth guys just to fill
guys on value contracts. And they're not going to go big game hunting if there's any big names even left. Exactly.
So overall, I give the Capitals an A- for their moves, and in the Kyrou trade, I also gave the Blues an A-. They have 4 first-round picks now.
Are they going to do? What are they going to do with the first 4 first-round picks? They're going to select them all. They're going to make a big trade. What's their plan?
So as of right now, the Blues are planning on to use them all. They are weighing their options though in terms of just trading them. Not all of them, obviously. I
don't know if I'd use all 4 of them. If you can make a trade right now to make your team better, I would do it.
I would pull the trigger. They are active in talking to teams though, but right now though there hasn't been anything released to the public about it. So, and I haven't heard anything either. So, I like that for the Blues. How in the Capitals, and then we go over to I'd say probably the happiest 2 hours of my life when I found this out. The Blackhawks acquired Bowen Byram and Jordan Greenway from the Sabres for the 4th overall pick, the 45th overall pick, and a fucking machine in Louis Crevier. And now when this came out that the Blackhawks are trading for Byram, I was like, okay, he found his home. I was like, what are we going to get? Like, we were waiting on the options in the group chat. We're like, there's not really any roster players that we want. And then we were like, no way they give up the 4th overall pick. And then my buddy, who I'm going to shout him out because he listens to this pod and watches it, full and through. So my buddy texted me. He goes, imagine if they gave Connor Bedard. And I was like, LOL, we're fucking around.
No, they weren't going to go Connor Bedard.
Yeah. And then he was like, dude, imagine if they gave the 4th overall pick, LOL. And 15 minutes later, he goes, "I fucking told you," and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, it was quite shocking. Because my initial reaction was when Elliott said that it was close, they're intensifying. That pretty much means it's going to happen. And when I was looking at the roster, I was like, I don't know if there's I figured that the Sabres are going to try to trade for Tuch's replacement with trading Bowen Byram away, and they didn't end up getting his Tuch's replacement, but they might be drafting his replacement, or if not, flipping that pick for a top 6 forward. Do they bring in a guy like Jason Robertson? Do they call on Matthew Nyes? Like now they have 2 first-round picks. Now they have real ammo to go out and go get a top player available via trade, or potentially draft a top pair defenseman or a first-line forward.
Which it gives them so much flexibility because they moved up from 27 to 20 and then turned Byram into the 4th overall pick. Excuse me. And like you said, the flexibility that they now have with this 4th overall pick, like they can go out and I've seen a lot of like Vigo Bjork talk, which is he's a small, like 5'9", 170 pounds, but the Sabres would love to have a guy like Bjork. He fits their MO perfectly. Or like you said, the Jason Robertson turned down like a $12.5 million extension of like for 7 or 8 years from Dallas. He's looking for.
I don't think the Sabres are going to trade for Jason Robertson. I was just throwing his name out there because I know he's more than likely not to be traded.
And then with Matthew Nyes and stuff, the Sabres started talking heavily with John Jacob for Matthew Nyes, and the Maple Leafs have been asking for the 4th overall pick, and I don't think Jarmo wants to do the 4th overall pick for Matthew Nyes. So
Bowen Byram is worth the 4th overall pick, a guy who has 1 year left on his contract that's asking for at least $11 million on an extension. But Matthew Nyes is not, for a guy that is, 24 years old? 23, and he's on a long-term team-friendly deal. If that doesn't tell you how much the Sabres fleeced the Blackhawks, I don't know what else does. Because if Matthew Nyes ain't worth the 4th overall pick, then Bowen Byram sure as hell isn't.
Listen, okay, exactly. And Byram was not going to resign with the Sabres, right? He wanted to be a number 1 D-man. The money wasn't the issue. Byram playing out told Jarmo that he wasn't going to resign. He wants an opportunity.
Well, his agent's known for walking guys to free agency anyway. That's kind of his MO, or he kind of brags about it. He's like, I walk guys to free agency and I help them get as much money as they can get.
Yeah.
And I get Bowen Byram wanting an opportunity to be number 1. He's going to get that opportunity in Chicago because their blue line is putrid. Like really, really, really bad. But now he also has all the leverage in the world to get whatever he really wants in a contract extension, because Chicago has a boatload of cap space. They have $30 million in cap space right now. They do need to sign Connor Bedard, so that will probably eat up at least $10 to $12 million, I'm assuming, depending on if they do a shorter-term deal and a longer-term deal. Wouldn't be shocked if that number went up to 13 or 14. As insane as it sounds, it's Connor Bedard. He's going to be really fucking good.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't. Yeah. Now they pretty much have to give Bowen Byram whatever he's asking for, and the Sabres got to dump Jordan Greenway's contract,
which is I was happy about. I remember bringing up that we have to get rid of Greenway's contract, and not just you guys, but also like people.
Yeah, I mean that was the most. If you look at the Sabres roster, that was the most obvious person that they were gonna, if they were gonna trade it at, like, even if they had to trade a pick away to just have someone take his contract, that's the guy that we're gonna do.
And a lot of people around my space were telling me, no, they're not gonna be able to get rid of that contract. If he gets traded, it's gonna be at the deadline for 50% retention. And they ended up just making fools even more of the Blackhawks. And like when more stuff came in, I was like, there is no way like Kyle Davidson actually said yes to this deal. And when you look at this deal, right, not only did they trade for Bowen Byram, which, by the way, I'm not saying he's a bad defenseman. He is a very good defenseman. I think he has upside to be a bottom-tier number 1 defenseman in this league. However, though, when you trade for a guy with 1 year left on his deal who's going to be in UFA, with Darren Ferris, who, like you said, is known for walking his guys to free agency, and you give it the 4th overall pick in a rebuilding team, it kind of screams a red flag with the rebuild. And I've seen some people try to argue this, and I'm not entirely sure why, that like people are like, okay, the Blackhawks are getting sick of this whole rebuild shit with Connor Bedard. I was like, they're like, you can't afford to wait for the 4th overall pick. The 4th overall pick will most likely be in the NHL this season, if not next season at the absolute latest. He's going to be a stud. And I understand draft picks are a 50-50 toss-up, but the earlier they are, the more chance, obviously, they have to pan out in the NHL. And to get that guy like Bowen Byram, who I think is has higher upside than Levshinov, great. I love that for you, okay? You get a guy, but he wasn't worth the 4th overall pick, right? That's just me, though. Like, you could have tried to work away something else, and I understand the Blackhawks didn't have much ammo because their roster just isn't overall strong.
Yeah, because they're not going to trade away one of their top prospects right now, and because why would they? They're still in the middle of rebuilding. Because that's the thing that baffles me a little bit. Because I know they're at a point right now where they have to start getting better. Connor Bedard's in his third. He just finished his 3rd year. He's starting his 4th. I think he's fed up with the losing already. Mm-hmm. So you're already starting to get under your franchise player's skin, where you haven't really made the progress you have wanted to the last few years. You're starting to get some pieces. Like, you're starting to build a decent forward core. You think you got a goalie in Spencer Knight who's looked good in front of a really bad D core, but your defense still is not there. So you desperately need anyone. Byron will improve their defense by 1,000,000%. And he's going to get exactly what he wanted. He's going to get an opportunity to be a number 1 defenseman. He's going to be their power play guy. He's going to do everything that a number 1 defenseman is for their team. Can he be a number 1 defenseman? I think he can. It's a bit of a gamble, and a lot of the logic I've heard from Chicago's side is, okay, like, we need a number 1 defenseman. Do we draft a defenseman at 4? Because I think they were taking a defenseman at 4 no matter what. Whether it was Reed or that other defenseman that's available, like they were going to take one of the top 2 defensemen available in this draft. Mm-hmm. Do we draft one of them and wait a couple of years to see if they maybe become a first pair defenseman, or do we already know at worst what Bowen Byram is, and just hope he takes that next step to be a number 1 defenseman? Is that worth the 4th overall pick in our minds? And to them, it was.
And you know what? Listen, I know we're going to sit here on Kyle Davidson for the trade because the value just doesn't match up. But if they feel like Bowen Byram, they'd rather go get a guy like Bowen Byram who's already proven with the 400 games under his belt, playoff.
He's won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
He's had some injury issues his first few years of the league. It seems he was healthy with it. He was on the Sabres his whole time there. I don't think he missed any time at all since he was traded to the Sabres. So that doesn't seem to be a concern right now. But, I think it was concussions that was his issue when he was in Colorado. So you never know when that could happen. But, yeah, he has a very high floor. So at least when you're looking at what Byram was like, okay, at least like if he doesn't turn out to be a pure number 1 defenseman, we at least have a really, really great, at least second defenseman or a second pair guy. And they can live with that for the 4th overall pick. And they'd rather not take that risk of, there's a chance that the 4th overall pick might not even play an NHL game, right? You never know what's going to happen with that.
Exactly. Did my camera go out?
Yeah, for a second.
Okay. There we go. Go ahead.
So yeah, it's a risk for the Chicago Blackhawks for sure. And then the Sabres, they have the 4th overall pick now, so I think they're going to take the best player available. I think it's going to depend. I'm expecting McKenna and Stenberg to go 1st and 2nd overall. We'll see where Vancouver does. I know a lot of people have them mocking Malhotra to them at 3rd overall. He's seen by a lot of people as the number 1 center in this draft. I think the Sabres would prefer to take a center because I think that's what they're missing right now is a number 1 center. Mm-hmm. But you do use that for ammo in a trade based on, I'm sure they're taking calls on it. I think it's more likely they trade the 20th overall pick though right now than the 4th because that's just too valuable a pick unless you're getting an elite player. You're not trading that guy pick.
Yeah, I've heard that the Sabres are trying to use a 20th overall pick in any trade talks. They want to hold on to the 4th unless, again, they are getting that top guy. This trade, I do give the Sabres an A++++++.
Yeah, they know this is a great trade for the Sabres.
Yeah, Blackhawks get a C- with that. So, yeah, that was crazy. Let us know down in the comment section below what you guys think of all these trades that happened because we just have a few more news pieces to go over. Nothing too crazy. The Stanley Cup playoffs are here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports sports betting partner of the NHL, has a new customer offer. When the ice gets coldest, the best players in the world show you exactly who they are. Playoff warriors turn it up round by round, and DraftKings turns it up with them from the first round all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Bet player props, bet live, from the opening faceoff to the final horn. Every moment matters. New DraftKings customers, you guys can bet just $5 and you'll get $100 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN so you're ready for the moment. That's code THPN. Turn $5 into $100 in bonus bets instantly in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That is 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for gambling problems. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. Must be the age of 21 years or older. Age and eligibility vary by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after assurance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos for details. NFL Sunday ticket offer for new subscribers only. Auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
All right, before we jump right back into the episode, we got to shout out today's sponsor, 500 Levels. Listen, if you're a hockey fan, a sports fan, or honestly someone who just wants to rep clean, high-quality sports apparel gear without paying stupid prices, 500 Levels is where it's at. These guys make some of the best player-inspired designs in the game, not the generic stuff. I'm talking unique, original artwork that actually looks good. You want vintage vibes? They got it. You want bold, modern designs? They've got that too. Use code CFB Pod at checkout for 20% off your entire order. Again, code CFB Pod for 20% off. Just some extensions or players getting re-signed, mind you. So starting off with the Oilers, they go ahead and re-sign both Jason Dickinson and Connor Murphy, who they did get from those very same Blackhawks around the deadline. They signed Connor Murphy to a 5x4.1 and then Jason Dickinson to a $5x4 million. I don't have an issue with really any of them. I mean, again, 5 years for term, it seems kind of much, but again, they need the depth any way they can, and they weren't that bad for them. Long term, I believe, who is it? Is it Connor Murphy is 33, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, he's been in the league for a minute.
Yeah, I think I'm right on that. Connor Murphy, yeah, he's 33 years old, so 5 years is kind of iffy with that. But I like the money there. If it was a little bit shorter, I would like it even more. But overall, though, I think these are very solid trades for the Oilers to retain. And
yeah,
go ahead.
Just while we're talking about the Oilers, I know I think this kind of, for the Oilers, I'm sure they're happy about this. This kind of got brushed under the rug a little bit due to all the crazy trades. But Mike Babcock at his introductory press conference, that guy's a fucking asshole. I don't know if he was asked specifically about what happened in Columbus and if he regrets what he did and if he's learned from that. And he said, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't bench anybody. I didn't yell at anybody. I didn't even coach a game. I felt our staff wasn't on the same page, and my wife told me that we should leave. Fuck you, dude. They did a whole investigation into you. This isn't the first time you've gotten in trouble for shit like this. Mm-hmm. That tells me that he has not learned his fucking lesson.
This is going to blow up in the Oilers' face so much with it. And Connor Murphy and Jason, I think it was either Murphy or Dickinson said that, it's always a pleasure. He has a track record, Mike Babcock does, of playing with him and everything. And I guess Connor McDavid spoke about it as well. And he was like, the Oilers need some accountability in the locker room. But Mike Babcock's not.
You're going to get that. I don't know if accountability, but you're going to get a guy who's going to demand everything out of you running the show for sure.
Yeah.
And he'll make your life hell if you don't give him what he'll make your life hell anyway, even if you're playing out of your mind. He'll still like, oh, you just scored 4 goals last night. Why didn't you score? You only scored 3, Connor. What the fuck? You see Matthews score. He scored 4. What the fuck? He would have scored 4 for me if I was coaching him still. I just think Mike Babcock's a fucking huge dickhead, and I don't know how he got another fucking job, but sorry, I just wanted to talk about that for a second while we were talking about the Oilers.
Hey, no, you're good. That's all I got on the extensions there. I hate the Mike Babcock hiring. We've talked about it for the last couple of weeks where it's just fucking dumb. Another extension that just happened, I'd say about 2 or 3 hours ago, officially, Zach Benson. He signs a $7.5 million contract extension with the Buffalo Sabres. We knew this was coming. It was announced that they were close to it earlier in the week. They just had to iron out some details. And here it is. Zach Benson, he's getting a steal of a contract. He was their best player in the playoffs. His upside is so high. He's going to be one of the best two-way forwards in the league in the middle of his prime. And overall, dude's just He has motor. He's an animal, man. I love this. Really.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
You're talking about Benson, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about Benson.
For some reason, I thought you were talking about Dickinson for a second, and I was like, what?
No.
I love this contract for the Sabres. He is just going to age better with time, where he showed his true colors in the playoffs of what he could be at his best. And now they have him and Doan locked up for the next 7 years. They're going to be really tough to play against, really fun players to watch. And I'm sure, as a Sabres fan, I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, I was pumped about it when I heard that they were getting close to an extension. I'm like, okay, like I'm assuming this is going to be a 7x7. Comes out that we'd be looking at close to a 7x7 a couple of days ago, and now it's a 7.75. I think he's worth $9 million genuinely for the way that he plays. I mean, dude's not afraid of literally anything. Like he'll go out. He, like you brought up in a couple episodes ago, he'll fight Zdeno Chara. Like he does not give a flying shit. He gets to the dirty areas, and that's what has made him so successful. Being a smaller guy, he's had to kind of pave his way for his, throughout his entire life to get to the point to become a top 10 overall pick here for Buffalo. And he hasn't changed his game when he got to Buffalo. Lindy Ruff has let him play his feistiness, his dirtiness.
Yeah, why would you want him to change his game?
Exactly. And now he scores goals in the blue paint. He gets some players' faces. He's literally our Brad Marchand, and I love him for that. He's going to be an integral part of the team for at least the next 7 years at minimum. So I love this. I really do.
Yeah, no complaints at all on that contract for Zach Benson. Love it.
A+. That's going to end it for today's episode. If you guys enjoy all of our content, head over down to the description below to check us out on all of our social media platforms. Subscribe, notification bell over on YouTube, and then follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. New episodes every single Sunday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you guys in our next episode.